welcome to the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, Laurie Larson. Today is episode 185-2. How you be today? Excuse me, got a bit of frog in my throat. Oh, yeah. So today, okay, I'm going to kind of try something just a little bit different. Well, sort of. Usually I have kind of a planned idea of what I'm going to talk about. And today I do have like a planned idea, but I'm really curious to see what comes through as I talk about it. So this is kind of like I'm going to surrender this topic to the universe and I'm going to open myself up to what wants to come through. So I'd ask someone. Now, I tell you guys that I listen to those Abraham Hicks videos with Esther Hicks, and she channels a group of beings called Abraham. And I tell you, I used to listen to them years ago, and then I stopped listening, and I've come back to them. And with listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza's stuff, I find that the two of them, just a sec here, the two of them, Esther and Dr. Joe, really complement each other. So it's like saying similar things but in different languages. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that someone can tell you something and tell you something and tell you something and you just don't get it, and someone else says it in a slightly different way and you're like, oh, that. Well, that's what I find with this. So they have two different sort of vantage points that they come from, or places that they come from. And what I like to try and do is apply it into my own life and then talk about it from my own perspective. Because as Dr. Joe says, and actually even Abraham says this too, is that there's one thing to know any information about life, but when we have an experience of it, it becomes like this full body experience that becomes a knowing in our world. Like it just becomes a complete knowing. And so, this is what I like to do is I like to also talk about it, because I find and that's actually reminding me something else that Dr. Joe talks about, is that when you can actually explain something, you have an understanding of it that you're actually embodying it. Like you actually then get it. It's like you become it. And again, those are like my words with it, and that's how I find it for me. So I'd asked someone this morning, if I was doing my radio show today, what do you think? Well, what did I actually say? I need an idea for my show today. Any suggestions? And then what they suggested was, how do you stay happy when others want you to suffer with them? Haha. How do you stay focused on your alignment more than focusing on other people's problems? Okay. Well, you know what? This is something I have had to work on. So we've been taught that we should care about other people, and that, okay, and not saying that that's not true, but it's what we've been taught that caring about other people is. And so when we start to actually care about other people, or when we watch other people care about other people, it usually means diving into the shit show that they've got going on, diving into the suffering that they've got going on, and empathizing and understanding and stuff like that. Now, I was actually listening to an Abraham video today, which was so amazing. And it said that will never, ever, 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 ever create anything. Diving into someone else's suffering with them, diving into their shit show, will never, ever, ever create greater. Now, Abraham was actually using the example of Jesus, and that when Jesus actually saw people that were sick or were suffering, he never saw them in their suffering or sickness. And that's what made him so incredibly, oh God, like divine, wonderful, special, inspirational, was that he never lost his sense of alignment with himself, with the oneness, with everything that all there is, the divine, the beloved God. And what I thought was really, really interesting is that as I was thinking about this whole subject, And I was looking at that. I was like, well, how come, like if we all thought Jesus was so amazing, okay, like you don't really find anybody judge Jesus, right? Whether you go to church or not. I've not really heard anybody judge Jesus. Yet, what is it that we pick that we don't judge him for it, but we'll judge other people for it? Like, I'm just really curious about that. Because I'm like, if I'm being in all my alignment, if I'm aligned to myself, I'm aligned to my source, my number one relationship in my life is my alignment with source. And that's what's actually going to create the most in my world and then impact other people around me in the greatest way. Then, what makes people judge me for that, and or even me judge me for that, as opposed to why don't people judge Jesus? And I just wonder if it's almost like we've taken him and put him on such a pedestal, like it's something that's unreachable for the rest of us, and or is it an amazing way to keep us disconnected from what's possible so that we can be controlled into staying less than? Like, that's what I really wonder. I really wonder if it was almost like we were manipulated at some point, whether it was by the church, by a patriarchal society or whatever, that went, no, 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 we cannot have the masses knowing this information. We cannot, no, have the masses knowing this information. If they know this information, we cannot control people anymore. And I don't know about you guys, but as I'm saying that actually feels really light to me in this world, or with what I'm saying. Like, as I'm saying it, there's no contraction in my body, no contraction in my awareness with it. So for me, it's definitely that I get that is very largely true in my world. So knowing that if at some point in time people were manipulated to not know of their connection to source, their connection to God, their connection to oneness, their connection to themselves, because we were then easier to be manipulated, easier to be, factory workers, to be people that other people could use us as pawns in their game, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't really want to keep sort of going there yet. That's where the thoughts are kind of going. I just wonder now, like, with that information in my world, like, what else is possible? Now, I've been choosing to do meditations every day, and I've even started doing, like, Dr. Joe Dispenza has walking meditations, and I went and did one the other day, and then I chose my body, like last night, it was like, go do a meditation again. I'm like, but there's mosquitoes outside. And it's like, go do this meditation again. I'm like, but there's mosquitoes. And it's like, well, dress up and put on mosquito spray. Get out there and go to this meditation. And it was like, okay. And I was so happy I did. I knew that I would be. It's just like when you want to go work out, it's a good idea. It would be really contribute to you and your body. And you're like, no, I don't want to do it, but it's going to this, or I don't, whatever. And it's like, just go do it. It's like, okay. So anyways, that was how it went for me. And as I chose it, oh my God, it was so beautiful. Like, there was this, the sun was setting, and it was shining, before it set, it was shining through the clouds, and I would stand in it and close my eyes and tap into the energy of the future I desire to create, the future like I already have it now. And I found that I felt greater and greater and greater and greater and greater in my body and in my world. And then when he has you walk like you're walking into your future, you're leaving your past behind, you're leaving your old self behind, and walking into your new self. There was this sense of, like, beauty that was in my world. And what does this have to do with staying focused on my alignment more than focusing on other people's problems, or staying happy when other people want you to suffer with them? Is that, but like, in my world, in my reality, I was taught to relate to people's suffering. I was taught that that was caring, that was compassionate, you know, and what I didn't realize at the time was that that was actually often heavy in my world. Now, this doesn't mean that I walk around and I go, oh man, you're suffering. I ain't having none of that. No, 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 no. It's not that. It's about loving. It's about, it's like tapping into Jesus' energy and loving other people from a place of just this unconditional love. Now, this again wasn't something that I was able to tap into right away. It was like a baby steps. It's like doing meditations, getting a sense of my alignment, growing that sense of alignment, growing the sense of the future I desire to create, allowing myself to know that I'm worthy to receive the future I desire to create. And this has all been tied into um, seeing that reality is actually greater and more of a contribution to my world, to the world, than staying focused on other people's problems and other people's suffering. Yeah. And that, oh man, I just, I'm just asking for any words that can come through me to offer even more clarity for myself and for anyone who's listening to have more ease with this. And the one thing that I'm hearing in my head is that this is just something that you have to just choose. Like you have to just ask for it and you have to just choose. This is one of these times where you're just going to have to trust that there's something different possible for you, and that it is possible for you to have it. And you may not know or have any idea what that is and what it looks like. But you know what you're doing and what you're choosing and what you've been choosing. You just didn't know any better. And when we know better, we can choose better. And sometimes it's uncomfortable because there's that window of when all of a sudden you discover that you've been choosing something that wasn't working for you and you didn't know better. And then you're aware of the discomfort of you now having to choose something different to create something different. And you just got to do it anyways. And I love asking the universe to show me the people that can support me with this, that can just support me with this. And what's so interesting is then, I have these beautiful friends in my life that send me these videos that are just exactly, what I need to hear. And they're ones that jump me forward, that just are that little support, push, encouragement, inspiration from the universe to go, it's okay, honey. Your alignment is more important than anything. Your alignment, Laurie, is more important than anything. And, it's really, like I said in the beginning, it's a sense of building a muscle to choosing that. I don't know what it's like to put myself first with regards to this. My alignment first. My alignment is the most important anything. Like to imagine that I came from source and am source in embodiment. That's a big freaking deal, people. We are all from source. We're source embodied. And that kind of makes this kind of important. I wonder if we put that much importance on our own lives, on our own bodies, on our own alignment, that, the trust and the faith and the support that the universe, the divine source, God, has with and for us to be continuing to create forward as, for everyone, everything. Okay. Oh, this is so exciting. So, how to stay happy when others want you to suffer with them? How to stay focused on your alignment more than focusing on other people's problems? You actually just have to start little by little by little. And even just asking the universe to show you where you're slipping, where you're going back into the suffering with other people, where you're focusing on other people's problems. And then, like with Dr. Joe Dispenza, it's actually an addiction. We don't even know that. And I didn't know that before. I was addicted to suffering. I was addicted to focusing on mine and other people's problems more than focusing on my alignment and the future I desire to create. Heck, I didn't even know I could have a future that I wanted to create. And when all of this started to show up in my life, I just had to start with just one place of going, not my circus, not my monkeys. Okay, how would I like to feel like right now? I don't actually have to take this on. I don't have to go into worst case scenario. What's something I can be grateful for right now? I wonder if a meditation would contribute. Go for a walk, go for a jog. On my show that I did yesterday, I talked about things that lower your energy. Well, what are the things that would raise your energy? Make a list of those things and allow yourself to choose them. And it's going to be a habit, and it's got to be something you got to choose. And even if you got put sticky notes all over your car and your house and in the walls and the bathroom and everything, if you got to do that, love yourself enough to do it. When I started doing Dr. Joe's meditations and over a year ago, and I found it really hard and I didn't feel like it, I would say to myself what I heard him say in one of his videos was, love yourself enough to do this. And I was like, I don't even know what that's like, but I'm going to try. And the consistency created greater, the consistency of loving me enough to choose a greater energy, a greater alignment in my body. Just all of a sudden, the next thing you know, it's like watching kids grow. All of a sudden you look at them and you go, holy crap, you're taller. I live with you in the same house. When did you grow? It's like that. When did you align more? When did your energy shift? Holy crap. And you'll have that beautiful excitement in your own world. So anyways, on that note, big hugs to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing rest of your day. And you know what? It's Friday today, so have a great weekend.